afternoon, South Africa, and a very, very warm welcome to you. My name is Jeannie D. This is Afternoon Express, and for the first day ever, am I shorter than you?
You are. Oh, look at me, Tony, on this hump day. Happy hump day, South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. My name is Balisa Tembe.
So before we begin the show, we would like to send our most heartfelt condolences to the family of two great South African legends who sadly passed away today. James Small, the former South African rugby player who played on the wing for the Springboks, was one of our heroes for the 1995 World Cup victory.
Absolutely. Our condolences do go out to their families, and we would also love to send our deepest condolences to the family of veteran actor Umam Mhlophe, who had an illustrious action career spanning over 5 decades. Their memories will stay in our hearts forever.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the show. Pageants, as we know them, date back as far as 1852, and even though they started as beauty contests, over the years they have been redefined and now hold more purpose in our society. So today we meet Heinrich Gabler, who holds the title as Mr. South Africa 2019, and we also meet Mbali Mkhize, who is one of the Mrs. Africa 2020 finalists.
Ooh, such beauty, elegance and class on Afternoon Express today. We also discuss the impact our childhood experiences have in our adult years with family therapist and social worker Tyler Ressels. Join the conversation and tell us about the bad habits that you have today that started in your childhood years. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page.
All right, let's get on with the show. Now, the purpose of pageants is to promote community service, I think, and inspire all of the participants to create positive social change. Now, this year's title for Mr. South Africa went to a very, very deserving Heinrich Gabler. He joins us in studio today to share share how his life has actually changed since winning the coveted title and what entails to be crowned as Mr. South Africa. So we are asking you on our socials, what have you always wanted to know about Mr. South Africa? Please don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express with your answers. Let's take a look at his crowning moment.
Your Mr. South Africa goes to Heinrich Gabler!
Congratulations.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday, I must say. It's
I know.
An amazing
well, actually,
feeling.
You were here for our birthday.
Yeah, without a shirt.
Without a shirt. I was going to say I didn't recognize you with your clothes on. But you were here without a shirt on for our birthday, and then, like, the pageant was soon after that.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you're on the stage when they announced your name?
It wasn't really an amazing feeling, Jeannie.
Yeah.
I really didn't expect it, but I knew I worked very hard.
Yeah.
So I felt it deserving, and I knew that the majority of South Africa really wanted me to take the title.
Yeah.
And I hope that I can do justice and just bring hope to so many people in this country.
Can I tell you, you had such huge support and so many fans who really, really did want you to take the title. And when I had read your story, I thought, this story has to be told, because you are and can be an inspiration to so many people, and I think you were the best person who could have won.
Thank you so much.
So let's get into that. Let's introduce South Africa to their Mr. South Africa. I think you were struck by tragedy at a very, very young age, and I think you've gone through so much in your life, and I think it's incredible that you're in a position now to share your story, to give a lot of hope and to inspire a lot of younger people. So take me through your childhood. You were orphaned very young.
Yeah, I was born in Somerset West, and I always say that every young South African, either you want to play for Bafana or the Proteas or the Springboks, sports really has an amazing impact on people's lives. And even the late and the great Nelson Mandela said that sport has a power to change a nation.
Yeah.
And I grew up wanting to become a Springbok rugby player. I really love sports, and it gave me just a sense of belonging playing for a team, and I knew that I was blessed with talent. So that was me growing up in our backyard, and we grew up quite poor, and it was me playing with a Coke bottle, dreaming to become a Springbok. And at a very young age, I lost my mom in a car accident. And my father is from Germany, and he was working in Germany at that time, trying to support the family and build a better future for us.
Yeah.
And he came back for the funeral, and he just left right after that. And that's when a family decided that myself and my two older brothers get put in an orphanage in Wellington.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to decide, is that, Heinrich, either you can just sit back and say, oh, that's life, or you can really keep on dreaming. I can still believe that I do want to achieve my dreams one day.
Sure.
And I held on to that dreams, and I must say my faith in the Lord helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And I believed as a child, and thank you for my Sunday school teacher saying that, Jesus loves you and there's a plan for your life, and I held on to that. And then I must say in my high school years, that's when you start questioning your life, does God really exist, and is there a future for my life?
Well, did you stay in the orphanage the whole time?
Yes.
So you grew up in the orphanage?
Yeah, and amazing story. Dawn, she's bragging now. Dawn Jorgensen, at that time she was married, and she used to fetch me on weekends and holidays. And at a point she said, Heinrich, but I want you to come and stay with us. I said, no, Dawn, I have to go back to the children's home. That's why I believe that I have an impact on other kids' lives, and to inspire them to have my groupies around me. Say, guys, we are here, but we can stick together.
And did you see other little kids around you getting adopted, and then you chose to stay there?
Yeah, one of my best friends got adopted, and I must say it was quite hard. I haven't seen him leave, but you become this family at the orphanage. And I was that guy. I was a leader at a very young age, and the guys, let's go and play on the sports field. Let's live our dreams out there, because sport played a massive role. And I'll always go back to the children.
Did your brothers stay with you in the orphanage?
Yes.
So you stayed a family there. I suppose
there.
that's better
that's
than
amazing.
if one of you, if you had been separated, that would have been terrible.
That's true,
for you.
yeah. But the kids in your household, because there was about 7 households with 14 kids from baby to 18 years old, and that becomes your family as well, and you grow quite attached to each other. And still today, I must say that I'm a type of mentor for a lot of guys leaving the orphanage out there today. I just wish that the success rate would be much higher, because it's not that as much as I think that every guy that goes out of there has an amazing opportunity to go and study further.
But now you're in a position to inspire
those guys. Yeah, that's my
So what happened to you when you were studying and then you became a teacher, a sports teacher?
Yeah. That's quite amazing. So I went on saying, okay, I want to become a professional rugby player, because I have talent and I want to use my talent, and I have this driven power inside of me.
And the muscles.
Thank you. And so I was studying to become a teacher. I knew that what happens if I do get injured, I could always fall back into teaching. So I was coaching through all my years of university, because I love sports and I could play. And then in my final year, I started coaching at the primary school where I grew up with the coach that coached me as an orphan boy. So that was quite special. And I was coaching most of the orphan kids in the orphanage at the primary school. And just there, Jeannie, I decided, Heinrich, there's nothing else that I want to do. I just want to work with kids. And I said, and I knew it was part of God's plan. I put my rugby dream aside, because I knew that somehow I'll get a small contract, or overseas or something. Because I always said that I want to start earning money, because that's something I didn't have. And being a teacher, you don't do it for the money. So it's quite ironic, because you do it for the outcome and not the income.
Exactly.
And just there I decided that I want to teach, and there's nothing else I want to do. And I was blessed with the opportunity to teach in Melkbos Strand for about 5 years. And then something special as well, I always wanted to go back to Wellington, and that I got the opportunity to go and teach at the primary school where I was at as an orphan boy, Huguenot Primary in Wellington. And most of the orphan kids were in my classroom. And
to teach isn't necessarily being in a classroom teaching children. The way you're speaking now is teaching, because so many people are learning and learning from your experiences. So why did you decide to enter Mr. South Africa?
Okay, so this is quite cool. In my matric year, I took part in the high school pageant. And one of the judges was Dieter Voigt. He was Mr. South Africa of 2007. He's my mentor. And he came to me afterwards, because there was a few interviews before the pageant. And he said, Heinrich, your story is so amazing. I believe that you can inspire South Africa and inspire the world with this. You just keep on believing. And that night I went home, was like, dude, it was Mr. South Africa that said he believed in me. And imagine I can become Mr. South Africa one day and inspire so many people. So it was this dream that I held on for 11 years, Jeannie, that finally...
But you know why it's such an important story to share is because I think your life could have gone in very different directions. Not having parents around you, you could have become a drug addict, a thief, an alcoholic. You could have become a really bad person, and yet you didn't. You went in a very, very, very right direction. So it's amazing how I think sometimes you think that you're a product of your upbringing, but sometimes it can turn out... I mean, what do you think you went through that inspired you to be who you are today? Why do you think you chose the good path?
The good path is just that so many people were good for me growing up. And it's quite ironic. I want to start laughing, because my mom when I was about 7, 8 years old, she used to take kids from the street and bring them home and bath them and wash them and clothe them with my
I could
clothes.
cry. You're killing me.
So
So you saw that goodness,
I saw that
and you
on my
remember
mom.
that goodness
and she
from
said,
your mom.
Heinrich, remember that kindness costs you nothing. It doesn't cost you a cent because we didn't have a lot. And she would dress these street kids and then take them to the safe haven.
Yeah.
And a few years after, it was someone else looking after her kid.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Let me tell you,
So-
the goodness of your mother is still living in you.
That's what my sister said as well,
Definitely,
yeah.
she is in you.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, it's-
Thank you for being here today. We're going to chat to you a little bit
Okay,
later.
perfect.
Pali, our social media must be absolutely cooking right now. What's happening online?
Absolutely, Jeannie. We've got a question from one of our viewers. We've been asking them, what questions do you have? What did you always want to know from Mr. South Africa? And one of our viewers, Bianca Terry, has definitely sent through her question. And she's asking you, Heinrich, as a teacher, you said earlier, by profession, are you stopping this during your reign?
Are you?
It is, and I think, is it Jack Ma, the Chinese billionaire? For now, I want to go and make as much money as I can
Yeah.
to help and support our country. And,
Exactly.
and yeah, so it's quite cool that...
But while you're not officially teaching, you're still teaching.
Exactly, and I
Yeah.
can inspire so many more kids. I can go to schools, I can visit so many other schools and share my story with them.
Exactly.
So yeah, I want to become and grow my foundation as big as I possibly can, and that
Amazing.
will help me change South Africa for the
bless
better.
you. Thank you so much, babe Bianca, for your question. Love it.
We definitely are feeling that inspiration, Heinrich. Keep on the good work. Now, after the break, we meet one of the Mrs. Africa 2020 finalists, Mbali Mkhize. So connect with us on our social media platforms and tell us about the bad habits that you have today that started in your childhood years. But remember to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. See you after the break.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, and of course today we have so much beauty and grace in studio. Apart from being a successful businesswoman, Mbali Mkhize is one of the finalists for Mrs. Africa 2020. She is also currently completing her MBA, and her passion for empowering vulnerable children inspired her to enter the Mrs. Africa pageant in order to influence and be a part of the change that she wanted to see in her community. So we are asking you on our socials, what have you all always wanted to know about community service. So don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express with your answers. And we literally have the best person to give you the answer here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And congratulations on all of your achievements so far.
thank you.
You know, speaking about community service, I was thinking about, you know, the conversation that we were having with Heinrich earlier, is you become the product of how you were born sometimes. And funny enough, it was your father's hardships that has inspired you to become so active in the world that you live in creating a difference. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
Okay, so I was born in Tembisa, and my father used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And in his early life, he was an orphan. He was actually left behind by his mother. The mother had him a bit too early, so she just left him in the care of relatives. And the relatives, they actually didn't take care of him. They kept him out of school, and they used him as a child slave, basically. And he was subjected to abuse, where he was actually beaten up and sometimes not even given food. And what he used to do is actually go to church every Sunday. And he said this is where he would feel much more secured, and he felt comfort there in church. And one of the priests saw that he always comes to church, but they haven't seen him at schools.
Yeah.
And he was 11 years old then, and he didn't own a pair of shoes. And the priest said, "Can you tell me what's going on? Why don't I see you at school?" And he said, "They don't allow me to go to school because they want me to work and look after the animals while their kids are actually at school."
At 11 years old.
I know. And the priest said, "Okay, I need to come with you because I need to see what's actually going on." And he went home with him, and when he saw at home the situation, and they didn't want to let him go because they would be actually losing labor. And he went back with the police, and they forcefully removed him from there. And this was a German priest, and then they had all these German missionaries around the area. So they took him out and they put him in a boarding school. They said, "We'll give you an opportunity, and it's up to you what you do with an opportunity, and we will never spoon feed you." So when the other kids were actually going at home for holidays, he would stay behind and work at boarding school to work off his fees. So he never felt sorry for himself.
No.
He was always optimistic.
But what kind of a father was he to you? Because he's obviously done a very good job.
Very compassionate and very inspiring, because nothing would break him down. If each time there was something that you're going through, maybe you were trying to achieve something and you couldn't achieve it at that time, he always said it's postponed success.
Yeah.
And he always says the only limitations that we have, it's the ones in our heads.
Yeah.
So I always carry these things with me. And he always used to say, you always stand for what's right, no matter what the consequences. So he became such a passionate teacher because he said the Germans gave him the education, and it always levels the playing field. And he said if they didn't give him this, he wouldn't have had the life that he had. Because he went on to become a school inspector. And before he was a school principal, he would take on the worst schools in the neighborhood and completely turn them around. And they would become number one in the province. And it was during the difficult times of apartheid. So he became a community leader, and for that he became a target of the government at that time. But he never folded. He always said, you must stand for what's right, no matter what the circumstances. So I get a lot of inspiration from him, and at the moment I'm actually working with an orphanage because when he passed away, I went through a difficult time because I was quite close to my dad. And I wanted to repeat the same kindness to other orphans that the Germans have actually showed him.
And you're a mother as well.
I'm a mother. I'm a mother of an 18-year-old.
An 18-year-old? What? You look 18 years old yourself.
Thank you.
Oh, wow, that is amazing.
Thank you.
But I heard that you also lost the father of your child.
Yes. My
Wow,
son's
girl, you've
father
gone through
passed
so much.
away when my son was 6 years old.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
I was left with him, and so I just took on the role, and he became my full focus. He's an amazing human being. He went through difficulties, obviously, and but he's so compassionate. He thinks about life in a broader sense. He says, "Mom, we are all here to actually help each other in this world." And he says, "I was given a gift of knowing biology very easy. Biology comes easy to me, and maths comes easy." He says, "I want to heal the world." So he wants to be a neurosurgeon.
Well, if biology and maths is easy for him, he can definitely definitely hear the world. But now I want to know about Mrs. Africa. So
Yes.
what exactly is the pageant?
So the pageant focuses more on charity work,
Yeah.
and this was the reason that I
Beautiful.
became so attracted to it.
Sure.
And they normally look for women that would be role models.
Wow.
And if you win Miss Africa, then you can get to compete for Miss Globe. And if you Miss Globe, then you take on women current issues at a global scale.
Wow.
So they want leaders that can sit down with, they want Miss Globe to be able to sit down with world leaders
Incredible.
and pushing women issues.
And then how do you kind of compete for it? Is it a Mrs. Africa or Mrs. South Africa, Mrs. Nigeria, Mrs. Ghana, Mrs. Congo? I mean, how do they find all of the contestants?
So it's 54 countries that were competing.
Amazing.
So everybody from all these 54 countries actually had to apply. Then you get shortlisted per
Yeah.
country. Then for semi-finals, then for the final, it's top 10, like I am at the moment.
Oh, incredible. So how can we follow your journey and when are the finals?
The finals are in November and they're
Okay.
in Johannesburg. If you want to follow my journey, please follow me on Instagram, which is
Yeah.
Valizetu Mkhize.
Yeah.
And I always post the latest there.
Amazing. Well, we'll definitely put all of those details
Thank
on
you.
our website. Now, we want to find out what the rest of South Africa wants to find out from you. So, Pali, what's happening in our socials?
Absolutely, a true role model in Bali is. So we've asked you online, what have you always wanted to know about community service? And we've got one of our dedicated viewers, Ugift Mpomongwe, who says, what does your community service entail in Bali?
All for you, girl.
So I work mostly with the orphans, but when I turned 40 last year, my son said to me, Mom, it's half time now. What do you intend to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah.
And I said, I've been a single mother for so long. I want to empower women, single mothers out there, because this is a topic that's very close to my heart. And I almost feel like if my father's mother didn't feel overwhelmed, maybe she wouldn't have left my father behind. So I want to empower women so they don't ever feel the need to leave their kids, because being a mother is such a beautiful thing and everybody should be able to enjoy it.
Wow, that is an unbelievable cause. Thank you
you.
so much. That is so valuable and
you.
so important.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for your comment and question, Gift. We've definitely decided that she's into family entrepreneurship. Shout out to you also in Bali for all the incredible work that you do.
So this week we are taking a closer look at LG's brand new smartphone releases. And if you're in the market for a phone with premium features without paying the extra premium price, then the new Q60 is perfect for you. It features an incredible 3 cameras on the back of the phone. Now, apart from the standard 16 megapixel camera and the depth sensor camera, which we spoke about on Monday, the Q60 boasts an impressive super wide angle lens.
Absolutely. Now, this gives you a massive 120-degree field of vision, which means that you can fit much more into that single frame than other smartphone wide-angle lenses. Now, all of this combined with the selfie camera on the front, it means that we have a whopping 4 lenses on one phone for a fraction of the price that you'd normally pay for such premium features. So after the break, we discussed the impact of our childhood experiences and what that has an impact on in our adult years with family therapist and social worker Talia Rissel. See you after the break.
Express yourself.
My name is Nay Maps, and I was a contestant on season 8 of Tropical Island of Treasure. It was amazing.
I'm Sashi Naidu, and I was the winner of Season 2 Tropical Island of Treasure Zanzibar. I can honestly say that even if I hadn't won, it was one of the best experiences of my life.
If you'd like to win that 1 million rand, make sure you enter season 9 of Tropical Island of Treasure.
Let fame and fortune find you in Carousel Tropical Island of Treasure Season 9.
Tropical Island of Treasure, Curacao.
welcome back to Afternoon Express. So our past experiences and relationships have a really profound influence on how we think, feel and behave in our present lives. Unresolved past traumatic experiences can lead to phobias and affect our future relationships in a negative way sometimes. We are now joined by family therapist and social worker Talia Ressel to discuss the impact of carrying emotional baggage from childhood into adulthood. So do you have any questions for her that you need help with? Please do comment with your question on our social media pages, and don't forget to use the hashtag Afternoon Express. Talia, welcome to Afternoon Express.
Hi.
Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
Like, I know it makes a lot of sense that what happens to you as a child will affect you when you're an adult. But I mean, sometimes we don't even remember our childhood.
I know.
How can it have such a big impact?
Well, I think what people have to understand, and I know there'll be a lot of eye rolling or people thinking like, oh, we're talking about childhood baggage and all of that. But really, our view of the world gets shaped early on. So obviously there'll be some moments we remember, but just because we don't remember those early infant years doesn't mean it didn't have an impact on us. So really what we're talking about is our framework, our blueprint or map for how we see the world gets formed from a very young age. We're like little sponges, soaking up everything and getting a sense of, how should I be in this world? Will my needs get met? Am I loved? Am I cared for? What do you think of me? What do I think of me? And it just builds on, but from those very early stages. So that's what comes with us.
And it's amazing how deep that can go. They can go. A friend of mine adopted a little child, and she had adopted him from birth. And as he got older, he suffered from like rejection and separation anxiety. Absolutely. And I mean, at that age, you don't even know that you've been. But so it runs very, very deep.
I mean, we're talking especially those first 18 months or that first year of a child, because their babies are totally helpless and they're totally reliant on the caregivers for all their needs. So while I don't think we must put like that your whole life is mapped out for you because of how your first year or two were, I do think we have to hold in mind that these memories get stored. We're like little computers. Even though you're not seeing it on the screen, it's in our memory banks. And that comes forth as adults.
Okay, but then if you have a tough childhood, does it mean that you're definitely going to have a tough adulthood?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think we saw that. Yes.
Don't worry, Mum, we're good. I'm joking.
I mean, we saw that with the two guests as well. I mean, difficult circumstances doesn't equate like now you're done for adulthood. But what it does mean is that, and I actually want to just rewind and say, everybody has some wounds in childhood, even those who may have seemed to have had it all, because no parent, no caregiver can match a child's needs 100% of the time in 100% of the correct way. So we're always going to be mismatched, and that's good, Jeannie, because that's where we learn resilience and we learn how to pick ourselves up and actually not always rely on others. But if you have had a particularly difficult childhood, there will be scars. You know, there's going to be some wounding, but it doesn't mean now you're going to be dysfunctional. For me, it's about how do you relate to what you've been through? How do you acknowledge it and then decide, okay, do I want to react like this? Do I want to, repeat a pattern? Just becoming conscious of it.
Yeah. And I mean, what are the most common kind of things that kids pick up from and suffer with that, I mean, what are the most common cases you see?
The most common thing that I'll see or experience is coping tools, because as young children we've got very little control over our environment, so we want to maximize pleasure and ensure our survival and get rid of anything that feels uncomfortable, right? So we learn coping tools, not defense mechanisms, coping tools, which are always helpful but not always healthy. But I'm using it to get out of this danger, what my brain sees as danger. We carry that with us into adulthood. You know those knee-jerk reactions where we don't even think, we just have that response? That's your brain using its old pattern. Okay, this got me out of trouble last time or out of the danger zone, I'm doing that now. And the problem is, as adults, we've actually got much better options. And that's why I see that sometimes if you don't stop to think about what am I doing, why am I reacting like that, the childhood things that you needed then are being used here, but it's making you pull away from people,
Sure.
or it's anger, or it's, you know, depression, anxiety, or addictions.
Why do people respond so differently? Because, I mean, if you look at just our guests today, that really had it so hard when they were so young, and then turned out to be such amazing pillars of society, where sometimes you see kids who have okay issues when they're young, and then they end up like coming and unraveling when they're a little bit older. Why do people respond and adapt so differently?
I think temperament. I mean, we see that even with siblings in the same family, how you can respond so differently. But I also think, you know, we underestimate people's resilience. We actually all do want to thrive, and we all do want to do well. So that pushes through in a lot of people, their temperament. Some have also had little glimmers, like maybe they've had really tough experiences, but there's been somebody, like, you know, your guest mentioned, a Sunday school teacher or an aunt, or just that little glimmer that was good enough, that one that was able to just give you that moment of hope. And so for some people, that's all that they need. Others, I mean, they thrive under huge, they show such kindness when none's been shown to them, or amazing parents when they were never parented themselves. So I don't think it's a scientific answer, but I think a lot of it has to do with how we see things and how we process it.
Often we hear in conversation when somebody has made a success of their lives, you hear them saying, but it's because you went through hardship when you were young that you turned out like this now. Do you think that's true? Do you think you've got to go through a little bit of hardship in order to gain strength, in order to survive adulthood?
I think there needs to be some of the misses.
Okay.
You know, with the need, and then how your need gets met. I think we have to have some of those misses. I mean, to be fair, I don't want such extreme misses. Like, we've got people who are feeling unloved and uncared. We don't. It doesn't need to be trauma. Okay. So what I always support for kids, how we build up their resilience, is in those moments of those slight misses, and then trying to repair it later. So no, I don't think we need major trauma, but definitely that trauma or that need to fight builds that resilience, which you can't get it. It's a muscle that has to be worked. So you've got to practice and actually go through it to build it up.
Do you think if, you know, people growing up, if they're aware of their circumstances, what tools can you suggest for them to just kind of keep it all together?
Okay, so, and that's the most important part of the conversation, because yes, we can talk about your childhood till you're blue in the face.
Yeah, but how do you make it better?
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing that I really want people to do is just to acknowledge it. Just for, you know, doesn't have to be to the world, just for yourself. Understand that, of course, you were wounded. There were times that it didn't go, you didn't get what you needed. So by acknowledging it, that's the first step that we have to healing. So if people can, you know, we all talk about mindfulness and breathing, and I am a big supporter, but why I like it is because otherwise we go, and we don't stop to think, hang on, is this why am I reacting like this? What is it, what's going on for me? And that's like a simple tool I'd like people to do, is ask yourself, why am I reacting like this? And that moment gives your brain a pause to stop acting automatically and doing what it's always done, and actually come up with something a little bit more helpful.
Always find a way out. I've got a mentor who, whenever I moan about something, he goes, stop being a victim. And I always say that back to myself and think, how am I going to make this better? How am I going to fix the situation and make everything better? But maybe that's also not healthy. I always want to make everything better.
Well, I think it's just acknowledging.
I feel like I should be lying on the couch and you should be teaching.
No, but, you know, I mean, I think it just that self-awareness, like, why in that moment did you feel like a victim? Like, what triggered it for you? Just that thought process is so helpful for us. And talking to people, and I don't mean only professionals. I think therapy is such a luxury. So find a friend that you trust. Find someone where you can just be a little bit more vulnerable. For me, I think that will be the biggest tool people can.
Therapy is a luxury, however, and a friend of mine said this to me, the same way as you go to a personal trainer to work out your muscles, you need to go to a therapist to work out your emotions and your head. I think that makes such great sense.
You're preaching to the converted. I mean, it's slightly off topic, but therapy is the greatest gift you can give yourself, but not just yourself. your partner and your children, because listen, you take your stuff with you, your mess everywhere.
You must just be on the show all the time and we'll give you free therapy at home. So, and here's the start of it. So we asked you online if you have any questions for Talia that you need help with. So Tandolo Nokwezi Ndlovu asked, the thing is, my mother used to have anger issues, which she used to take out on me, but she changed as time goes. But the thing is, sometimes I think about it and I feel anger against her. So the question is, how do I change that? Great question. I mean, that happens a lot, I think, when you can build resentment, even though you love someone so much. So what answer do you have for Tando?
So I think it would be really helpful and a great question, because it acknowledges the difficulty in people in having the dual emotions, happy and, resentful, love. But it would be really helpful if she could have a discussion with her mother. Perhaps just a chance to say to her how it felt, not in an attacking way, but just for her mother. I'm glad that she's changed, that's amazing, but to acknowledge what has happened and acknowledge the damage.
Yeah, I hope that helps you. Thank you so much for your comment, and thank you so much for being here today. We're going to chat a little bit later. Please do join the conversation online. We love hearing from you. So tell us about the bad habits that you have today that started in your childhood years. Please remember to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in your comments. And after the break, we prepare a really delicious and gratifying chicken and veg gratin with Chef Mo.
Hi, I'm Brendan Paper. I was on Tropical Island of Treasure Season 8 with Lizanne Lazarus. We were Team Red and we won.
I brought the brains and Brendan definitely brought the brawn. And together, we made a smooth team. Auditions for Season 9 launch in August. So here's your chance to win fame and fortune, just like I did.
If you're talking about a smooth experience, this would be it.
Tropical Island of Treasure Season 9 on the beautiful Caribbean island of Curacao.
Tropical Island of Treasure, Curacao.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, the new reality show, The Next Brand Ambassador, starts broadcasting from the 15th of August right here on SABC3. So the call to entry is currently underway. The series will follow the search for 3 industry-leading marketing talents to represent South Africa's #1 retail bank, Capitec. So if you think you are smart and sussed enough to take on some of South Africa's best marketers and influencers, enter to be considered as a contestant on the show. Visit thenextbrandambassador.com for full details on how to enter. Also, those important T's and C's do apply. Enter now to be a contestant and live better with Capitec and The Next Brand Ambassador, coming soon to SABC3.
Clover fresh milk is way better. Made with love by Clover.
Make sure you keep those video entries rolling in. Now, a warm, fresh bowl of food is certain to make any winter's night absolutely perfect. And today's dish is brought to you by Clover Fresh Milk that is sure to nourish your body and soul. Now, to do exactly that, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. Remember, SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMSs apply. Mo, I see that you're busy with that.
Doing the ones and twos.
Doing the ones and twos. No, but that is perfect because we need these pots to make the things happen.
We are sizzling our butter here for our fabulous vegetable and chicken gratin.
Love that.
Sounds fancy, but really quick and easy to make. And I love what you said, it nourishes the body and soul. And this dish really does nourish. So when it comes to balance and nutrition, we all get confused. We're like, what are we doing?
Yes.
So 4 things that you really need is some fat, protein, carbohydrates, and vitamins.
Absolutely.
That's it, and all in this dish.
Okay.
So I've got my fat in there, some butter, and some of the leeks as well. To that, I'm going to sprinkle over our bit of carbohydrates, which is our flour.
Okay.
And give that a good mix. While I'm doing that, you can assemble our vegetables into a dish.
Okay.
What I love about this Woolworths convenient packs is that there's no chop.
There is no
It's
chop.
all been done.
We're limiting the time in the kitchen. After work, a lot of people, especially people on the go, they're business-minded, business-orientated. We don't have time, but we're sure that here, it's fresh food, fresh veggies.
Convenience.
Very convenient.
Because anybody got time for that.
I'm telling you.
So you can just, and then to that you're going to add your shredded chicken. Use any other protein that you like. So this is the protein part. So I've now allowed my flour to cook out of my leeks, and to that I'm going to add the fresh milk. And in this milk, there's lots of essential nutrients that you also need, such as calcium and some other vitamins A and B. Really good for growing kids. So this is definitely one for the family to make.
Love that.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we need to warm up those cold winter's nights. Remember to SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. I'm adding this Clover cheese on top. You know, the cheesier the better.
And that's also another form of fat. That's also great. Also got calcium in there. So this dish is all-round nutritious.
Yes.
Okay, not only is it yummy, because are you going to have just normal boring veg?
No. We have to play with our veg. And we encourage you at home, as we have been doing all week, use the veggies that you have in your fridge, in your freezer, in your pantry, because you pretty much can win using whatever you want. So right now, I'm using the tender stem broccoli just to lay on the top, adding some more green. I don't think you can have enough green in a dish.
Not at all. And what I love about broccoli is that it's so great for your skin. It's got some nice iron in there, also a bit of calcium, so other rich nutrients. So pile it all on.
Pile it all in. Looking good. How's that sauce going over there?
It's all coming together. So I've got one that I've already made. I've added some cheese to it as well. Okay. And then we're going to pour this sauce all over your beautiful, I see you did a little food styling over there with your broccoli.
What I am learning a little bit, not a little bit, a lot bit from you, Mo.
Chef Mo coming through.
Chef Mo coming through, teaching your sous chef Bali here.
There we go.
I'm going to top it off with a little bit more cheese, because I see your done dish there has all the cheese, which I'm not beefing with.
Yes, so you got to put this into the oven and then let it just grill for a good 20 minutes till it's nice and golden and toasty.
Yummy. This looks very, very delicious. Okay, as I'm topping this all up, if you want to try this incredible recipe at home, SMS the keyword Clover to 33650. And if you want to see how this amazing chicken and veg gratin is made,
yes,
is made, here's a quick recap.
Oh, we really do make the most delicious dishes on the show. After the break, we continue the discussion on freeing yourself from emotional childhood baggage with our amazing guests. That's coming up after this.
Clover fresh milk is way better. Made with love by Clover.
Hi, I'm Brendan Paper. I was on Tropical Island of Treasure Season 8 with Lizanne Lazarus. We were Team Red and we won.
I brought the brains and Brendan definitely brought the brawn. And together, we made a smooth team. Auditions for Season 9 launch in August. So here's your chance to win fame and fortune just like I did.
If you're talking about a smooth experience, this would be it.
Tropical Island of Treasure Season 9 on the beautiful Caribbean island of Curacao.
Tropical Island of Treasure, Curacao.
Someone wouldn't open.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, and I hope that you're having a wonderful afternoon. So we are back on the couch with Mr. South Africa 2019, Heinrich Gabler, Mrs. Africa 2020 finalist, Mbali Mkhize, and family therapist and social worker, Talia Ressel. So we've been asking you to tell us about the bad habits that you have today that started in your childhood years, and we've got a couple of comments.
Absolutely. So we've got Unospiwo Pinky, who's commented and saying, chewing my nails. How does that
I'm going to hold my nails.
I'm just going to sit on my
Yes. Look, that's one of our nervous habits. You know, some people pull their hair or tap. Often people bite. Some people, no names mentioned, will pick cuticles, or, you know, we have these little habits. It's often when there's nervous energy that we remember when you would click the back of a pen or chew like that. It's nervous energy. Exactly. That there was always somebody at school tapping while you were writing. Yeah.
I do that at a table. I always like fold straws and serviettes, and I tear them. I fold them.
Keeping your hands busy.
Yes, always.
So often that's it's nervous energy.
Okay. Absolutely. Is it a bad thing?
No, I don't think so at all. I say that,
Thank goodness. Don't worry, you're good.
Absolutely. So we've got another comment here from Utande Gambata. And she goes, picking my nose. I've grown my nails to avoid this, but still find it hard to stop. Wow. Tandeka.
Is that just a bad habit, or is that actually a psychological thing?
There's no psychological pass for that.
Yeah.
As I've said to my children, I think most people pick their nose. It feels nice, but do it in private. Do it somewhere where nobody else sees it. Like that's what happens with little kids. They want to.
There's no psychological pass for it. Sorry, love, you're not going to blame your parents for that.
I don't know, Mali, are there any childhood habits that you have carried out into your adulthood?
I think if I'm stressed, I start repeating words.
Really?
Okay. I'll say one word over and over again, and my son goes like, "It's enough now, Mom."
I don't know, and yourself, Heinrich?
I was thinking about this now. I wouldn't say bad habits, but something I did as a kid. I used to catch snakes.
What?
And I'm so scared of snakes now as an adult. It's insane. I used to go to the bush and to the river and just search for these snakes, and I used to catch them and put them in my mom's cookie jars and show my friends.
But maybe you were bitten or something as a child, and that's now made you have a fear.
I had a love for animals, and I chose snakes as a hobby to catch them.
I mean, daredevil. I'm not sure. We've got another comment here from Untogozo. Untogozo, I wonder if you're a daredevil like Heinrich here. But Untogozo says, bringing back food that I already swallowed and chew it again. Disgusting. I wanted to stop, but I can't. Untogozo, please stop. You heard it here first. But I don't know.
You can't blame your family for that either. You can't blame your upbringing.
No.
How does one even do that?
Like, isn't that like birds that want to feed their young?
And you've got like and cows who've got several stomachs regurgitating. That wouldn't be a healthy habit to have. Yeah, that isn't one that is healthy for your body for any reasons, and not one I would want to encourage.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if this has anything to do with that specific habit, but I know some people say if food doesn't settle in your stomach and you've got that disruption, they say there's something that you can't stomach in your real life.
Oh, wow.
So that is now manifesting itself in that way.
So something that is really interesting, like inspired me today is, two of our guests have come from so much hardship early on and really flourished to become such incredible pillars of our society today. What advice do you have for young people, especially people that are in situations where they're finding it tough?
I would say whatever life experience that you go through, it's supposed to actually prepare you to be the human being that you're supposed to be in this world. So there are no accidents. So whatever hardship and your personality that you bring into this world, it's supposed to fulfill your destiny.
Yeah, I was listening to Talia speaking. I just refused to become a victim of my circumstances.
Yeah.
And it's a choice I made. And I always say to people, believe in yourself a little more. That's very important. If you believe in yourself, and that will, as soon as you start believing in yourself and you know that you're wonderfully and awfully created, and I always say, find something bigger than yourselves and believe in something bigger than yourselves. I know I found God and Jesus in my life, and that made a massive difference for me, and I could hold on to my faith.
Okay, two things. Please tell me that you are going to boys' schools, orphanages across the country and doing motivational talks.
I do, and that's my dream, and starting my NGO with my mentor, Dieter, and my adoptive mom, I would say my foster mom, Diesel, we're together in this, and that's what we want to do. We want to empower these kids, and I want to bring across these messages, especially young boys, because we have a lot of amazing female role models in our country, but we need that male. And
we need male role models.
I'm sitting as a rugby player, fierce, hardened guy, but I have a very soft heart, and a lot of my friends that we get across that there's amazing guys out there, and they just need to step up and step out there and show the guys that go, wow, that's
Thank you. I think you are the best, after Michael Mole. You are the best. And please tell me you're going to write a book as well.
That is, yes. And it will be the orphan adopted by God.
I love that.
Oh, I love that. That is brilliant. Okay, good. I really, really want to follow your journey and see all the best for you, really, because
from catching snakes
to winning Mr. South Africa. Absolutely. Natalia, one last comment from you. I mean, our viewers at home have definitely been bringing in all of the comments and all of the questions that they have for you. Do you have any last words for everyone watching at home?
I think it would be that now as adults, we can actually parent ourselves.
Yeah.
So that can be really helpful. Think about yourself as that little kid. What did you need then? Now you can give that to yourself. Sometimes it's just that kindness to yourself. Absolutely. Like sometimes I just, even give myself a rub and be like, it's okay, Talia. But we've all got that little kid inside ourselves. So now we don't have to rely on others to give that to us. Yeah. We can do that to ourselves, and that really helps with the healing.
Yeah, self-care.
That is such great advice. Just to relearn to care for yourself.
Absolutely.
Is really important. What a very special message. Thank you. What a great show. I really hope you at home have enjoyed all of these beautiful messages from all of these incredible guests we've had today. Thank you.
And I truly hope that everyone at home has delved down deep and answered the questions for themselves and found some relief, some advice and a way to move forward. I don't know, Jeannie, do you have any habits that you have carried out?
No, but I'm so allergic to cats, like horribly allergic to cats. And I'm pretty sure I must have been scratched or bitten by one of those little when I was young. But I promise you, it stuck with me that can't do cats. And it's because of something must have happened in my childhood. One of them, I think, scratched me or bit me. But no, now I'm like violently allergic to them. But anyway, it's not always about me.
At least you're not allergic to the prince, though.
This is the best cat. So tomorrow we meet representatives from the NPO Dress for Success. What a great name. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll meet up with you again tomorrow. Until then, good night and God bless.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.